Hello viewers, welcome to our channel, Universe Revealed. Our today's episode is about third part of Atlantis, the Lost Civilization. If you haven't watched the previous parts, please check it out. To finish the last part of the Atlantis, the Lost Civilization, we will look into two events that happened before and after World War II. First is the famous story of Admiral Byrd, who was the leading officer of the mission high jump of United States. And the second event that we couldn't let go, it's the Nazi expedition to Antarctica on 1938 to 1939. What's the hidden records of these two events will bring us to conclusion. Let's find out. As we know, the Nazi who highly believed the Atlantien were the descendant of Aryan, the ancient race who lived 10 to 20,000 years ago, who owned super spiritual power and also higher technology than us now. With this belief, the Nazi looked for them around the world. However, the idea of Atlantis was inside Antarctica became more serious after Nazi expedition team reached Tibet. What they found in Tibet never been clear, but if assumed about the myth of Tibet, it must be something inside the story of the great unknown land, a paradise beyond the pole, Shambhala or Agatha, the legend kingdom which situated on the exit of the earth. The land that no one can find its location on the map. Maybe it was Atlantis that Nazi was looking for. The story of Agatha is too interesting to let go. How about we make one episode on Agatha? On 17th December 1938, the Nazi icebreak Schwebenland set out one of the most secret mission from Hamburg by the order of Hitler, with 88 members team, including scientists, military experts, construction crews, and key members of the Thule and Vril Society, an elite group of associates with the Nazi. The derivation of Vril and Thule Society, we won't talk about them in this episode, because we already talked about them in one episode, Hitler and alien technology. So if you still haven't got a chance to watch it, I recommend you do. I'll leave the link at the end screen of the video. The Nazi group arrived at the destination Antarctica 32 days later, first anchored at the Princess Mata coast, an area which had lately been claimed by Norway as Queen Maud Land, and began charting the region. Nazi German flags were placed on the sea ice along the coast. Later they named the area New Schwebenland or Treasure Hunter after their ship's name. The expedition established a temporary base and began their mission. They were searching along the coast by walk, by air, and by ship. Following weeks, team searched along the hills and other significant landmarks. 7 photographic survey flights were made by 2 Dornier Wolseley planes named Passat and Boris. A dozen of 1.2 meter long aluminium arrows with 30 centimeter steel cones, and 3 upper stabilizer wings embossed with swastika symbol were airdropped onto the ice. 8 more flights were made to areas of keen interest, and on these trips, some of the images were taken with color film. Altogether, they flew over 100,000 of square kilometers and took more than 16,000 aerial photographs, some of which were published after the war ended. The Schwebenland left the Antarctic coast on 6 February 1939. These were all for the open record that we all get to know through publishing after the World War II finished. However, Behind this simple expedition, it had something more. As mentioned in the ancient astronaut's memorandum, let's take a look. In 1942, Nazi Germany sent out an expedition composed of some of the leading scientists in an attempt to find an entrance to the hollow earth. Göring, Himmler and Hitler enthusiastically endorsed that the earth was concave and the Atlantien lived on the inside of globe. In Antarctica, the Nazi expedition found the massive cities that were highly technological, and those buildings were not just on the surface, they went deep down underground. They gave the Nazi a lot of information about to build advanced aerospace, vehicles, flying saucer, nuclear, and a lot of secret knowledge that they could not finish in their time. The German expedition got back in Hamburg on 11th April in 1939, with the beginning of Wonder Weapon and nuclear project in the same year. Second event, the Forbidden Diary of Admiral Richard Ebert. What was the Nazis doing in the faraway Iceland with a massive instruments in the hidden mission seemed to cause Americans and Allies a lot of curiosity. There were many operations on that. After World War II ended in August 1946, Admiral Richard Ebert was promoted to Commander-in-Chief of the Atlantic and Pacific fleets. It was codenamed Operation High Jump, the largest expedition ever to Antarctica. Instructions were for 13 ships, 23 aircraft, and several thousands of men to make their way to the Antarctic Rim. There was a list of military goals that the expedition teams were to achieve in 4 months. By the end of February, something happened. One of the mission's official goals was investigating sites for potential military base in Antarctica. But during his explorations, Admiral Byrd came upon something highly unexpected. There was an entrance to the center of the Earth through the South Pole. During his flight of 1700 miles beyond the pole, he reported by radio that he saw below him not ice and snow, but land areas consisting of mountains, forests, green vegetation, lakes and rivers. And in underbrush they saw a strange animal resembling the mammoth. The external temperature indicator read 17 degrees Fahrenheit. He took plane under it and discovered that he was flying over the pole going inside Earth. There was a lush green land with shimmering rainbow city that made of crystal. He attempted to contact base camp again, but the radio was not functioning. His plane was taken control of when he suddenly saw their flying disc-shaped objects with the mark of swastika around it. In short time, the radio started crackled and a voice came through in English with Nordic or Germanic accent. The message was, "Welcome Admiral to our domain. We shall land you in exactly 4 minutes. Relax, you are in good hands." His plane was led to the ground, whereupon his radio man Howie and him was escorted by several quite tall men with no weapons in a most cordial manner. Later by a small conveyance with no wheels, he was taken separately to see the leader of them, which he referred to as the master over there. The master, to describe as a human term, who too beautiful and wondrous, told him that they are highly disappointed in what humans on earth are doing with nuclear weapons and how they have recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In point of fact, they are really concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet, and they hope that the humanity will ultimately stop this. The beings inside Earth are very concerned that we are ultimately not just going to destroy ourselves, but could harm our planet, which is their world as well. With concern at that alarming time of atomic bombs, they sent their flying machines, the flugel rods, to our surface world to investigate what our race had done. They tried to contact us, but were met with hostility. Their flugel rods were fired upon, pursued with malice and animosity by fighter planes. When Byrd got back to United States, he was brought back to Washington at Pentagon. He stated full of his discovery and the message from the master. All is duly recorded. He was detained for several hours, got interviewed in tele by top security forces and a medical team. After that, he was placed under strict control by the national security provisions of the United States of America. He was ordered to remain silent in regard to all that he had learned on behalf of the humanity. That's why the story that we heard came from his diary, not his published account to the trip. His diary was discovered by his son after his death, and these were published, not only this one, but all journey records, many times to Antarctica in his life. For UFO researchers, this account from Admiral Byrd's diary is particularly significant. Due to that, the modern UFO began right after World War II and the detonation of the first atomic bomb. It has also been noted that a high number of UFO sightings has been reported in the vicinity of nuclear missile sites. The diary of Admiral Byrd could point us to a profound connection between the ancient civilization of high spiritual being living inside the earth and the modern day UFO phenomena. It's possible that the entrance to another civilization can be found at the Earth's poles, wherever Admiral Byrd actually passed through one of them. According to ancient astronaut theorists, such gateways do exist, and not far that we are going to discover the other Earth, the place we have sought for a long time, the missing civilization. The story of Admiral Byrd's diary with the master is very interesting. We have read them all. If you are curious to know, please let us know in the comment below. Well, this is the end of Atlantis Part 3. If you like the content, please like and share. Your kind gesture always inspires us to carry on. Subscribe and click the bell notification icon below so you don't miss our new episodes. Thank you so much for being with us.